All right, this is this is my new background. And this is going to be a really, I think, intense video to say the least. There's so many opinions going on right now at this time based on the Russia-Ukraine war that's happening. What I've heard, and that's why I wanted to ask all of you right before we got on, I've heard everything all across the board. It's not happening, the war isn't happening at all. Ukrainians are completely safe. Everything is fake news. I've heard, this is a reptilian, basically elite plan. I've heard that Putin is the savior. I've heard that this is tied to child sex trafficking. Yeah, a lot of things, a lot of things. So today I am going to get into some information. I am going to take the perspective of like 4D, 5D in the information, which basically means that I'm not going to talk about the 3D specifics, like kind of like the third dimension news media outlet. I'm not going to talk about any specifics. I'm going to go to a high level. There's a lot of information that I wasn't able to include today, and there's a very specific reason why I did not include that information today. Mostly because I'm basically on very thin ice when it comes to a public platform like YouTube. What I am going to plan on doing is I'm going to deep dive into more of the specifics, the white hats, the shadow government, the light and dark battle. I mean, I want to get into the nitty gritty. Is it connected to child sex trafficking? What's going on with the reptilians? I got a couple pieces today that I'm going to share with you, but I want to deep dive on my own platform. I'm going to be deep diving actually on March 13th, so mark your calendars, and that's going to be during the Galactic Federation Message to Humanity. Typically it is on the 11th, but I'm actually going to be flying out and filming for a TV show on the 10th, 11th, 12th. So I will be back for the 13th to do that. And then we'll also get into kind of the timelines of humanity, where we're at collectively. And I want to talk about the war, want to talk about some of the predictions for 2022 and all of that great stuff today. Okay, I know that by the end of this video, you are going to leave feeling way more validated. You're going to leave with clarity, and you're going to definitely leave in a higher vibrational state. It is of my perspective, as always, take it or leave it, that there is war happening. And obviously it is for different reasons than what is being portrayed in the mainstream news media. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Before we deep dive into some of this information, I want to actually just do a group meditation. I was kind of in between, do we battle it out and kind of blast, some white light and do some battling with some reptilians and forces and target Putin or whatever? Or do we just kind of hold that love frequency? And I landed upon the love frequency. So I really think that for all of us who are obviously in different countries, but also truly safe. If you were not safe, if you were a part of this, you most likely wouldn't be watching this video. So I think that we can bring our love, our safety, and we can bring that to Ukraine, but also Russia as well. Just realizing that, Russia isn't bad, and the people of Russia are not bad people. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of Russians in Ukraine and a lot of Ukrainians in Russia and vice versa. So I think to really just give both of those countries a lot of love from the place of compassion would really help. I mean, I think we can give that gift to them. And then we'll get into why this is all happening and contractually what that means for the planet and for us. Okay? Yeah, so I also want to mention, like, just kind of be aware of your interaction with my platforms. I've been having a lot of issues. A lot of people who have been subscribed are getting unsubscribed. We're having a lot of people not getting notifications, a lot of people not getting text message alerts and notifications. We're just kind of dealing with a lot of issues right now, especially on YouTube and then also on Instagram. So make sure that you are subscribed if you do enjoy this channel, and hit the notification for notifications when my videos do come up. Unfortunately, because I have talked about really polarizing or maybe topics that they don't want me talking about, there's been a little bit of that shadow banning that I've noticed on the channel in the past probably month. So just kind of being aware of that. And then of course, if you want a censorship-free platform with tons of brand new content, then definitely check out the Cosmic Society membership, and that's where you're going to find hundreds of videos, even for a free membership monthly rate as well. So just kind of being aware of that. That is why we have that encrypted, censorship-free platform. I mean, yeah, like our website's been hacked. Like it's been pretty intense in the past couple of weeks. Kind of keeping that in mind. And I also want to say, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this after the fact, you can participate in the meditation. If you're listening to this right now and you're driving or you're at work or you're not in a safe place to do this, just know that just by listening, your soul, your energy, your astral body will go ahead and do what you need to do, and you don't necessarily need to close your eyes and have full focus or attention, okay? So astral traveling, I could literally be astral traveling right now, I probably am, while I'm talking to all of you. So that's kind of how it happens. It's a very fluid type of thing. All right. Okay, so if we can all just go ahead and close our eyes. And I want to start with being in the body in this present moment. And I want to start with filling our body up with the most amount of unconditional love. So taking a deep breath in, and as you do so, I want you to imagine, I want you to visualize, I want you to feel your whole body filling up with pure white light energy. And as you breathe out, I want you to breathe out any anxiety, any overwhelm, any attachments, any negativity, any low vibrational frequency that you may have. And I want you to do that a couple of times. Breathing in all that white light energy, and out all of the darkness, the shadow, the polarity, the negativity, the conspiracy theories, the agendas. Just breathe it all out. I want you to let go of any thoughts from your day, any craziness from last week or overwhelm from the week ahead. I want you to get yourself in a very calm, centered, grounded, neutral place. I want you to visualize a pure white light bubble that seals your entire aura, kind of like an egg-shaped shell around yourself. And this pure white light is intense, it's strong, it's made up of unconditional love frequency. And anything that does not align to that unconditional love frequency cannot enter your aura, cannot enter through this egg-shaped shell. Now, on top of this shell, this layer of protection, divinity, white light, I want you to cloak yourself. Maybe it's a blanket that you see, or some sort of large tarp, or maybe just a beautiful covering that you put over this pure white light. And this is an invisibility cloak. And I really believe that it's important to cloak ourselves as we move forward in this mission to help all of the people who are suffering, because this is a very intense, political dynamic. And yeah, absolutely, it's full of distraction. And there is there's a lot of dark forces at play here. So we just want to make sure that as we go over there, we're protected, we're full of unconditional love frequency, and we're invisible to any other vibrations that do not match our own. So making sure that the invisibility cloak is around you. And I also want you to just imagine the invisibility cloak around your grounding cord as well. So as you leave your body, your cord that connects your astral body to your physical body is also completely covered in an invisibility cloak. Therefore, you and only you know the way back to your own body. That's really important. Okay, one more thing to do before we actually go over there and we share our unconditional love with them. I want you to fill yourself up with even more love than you currently have. So I want you to think about something that brings a smile to your face, like something that completely brings joy to your life, totally lights you up. You should already have that thing in mind. It could be your child or your children. It could be this beautiful plant that you're growing in your home. It could be your job, your service to humanity. It could be an animal. It could be a pet. It could be, for me, like, so many things bring me unconditional love, but like, I even think about a snail. Like, I have such a fascination with snails. Love snails. Lights me up. I have the most amount of unconditional love towards snails. I know it sounds weird. I want you to think about that thing for you. And I want you to kind of sit that frequency, not the thing itself, but that frequency right in your rib cage, right where your diaphragm sits, right where that solar plexus energy is. I want you to sit that frequency of unconditional love right there in the center of your being. And then I want you to feel that unconditional love frequency just emanating, pouring out of that solar plexus chakra. That is your power center. That is what we are going to use. Actually, one more thing before we leave our bodies and go to this battleground. I want you to I want you to imagine a beautiful, silvery, green cord of energy going from your base root chakra all the way into Mother Gaia, all the way into the planet, all the way deep, 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 all the way connecting to the core of the planet. And this is going to be your grounding cord. This is when you come back into your body, you feel settled, you feel grounded, you feel aligned once again to your body and your chakras, and you feel connected to Mother Gaia. And likewise, I want you to imagine a strong, thick, beautiful, pure white light cord going from the top of your head all the way up, 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 all the way to the center of the universe where Source emanates from. 10 times, an infinite number of times larger than our own sun in our solar system, made up of pure white light energy, unconditional love, no polarity whatsoever, ever. Everything and nothing exists within that source frequency. That is infinite amounts of love. And I want you to connect yourself to that source frequency now so that when you are giving love to those suffering, when you are giving love to the people of Ukraine and Russia, you're giving it from source, not from self, but from source. You are the conduit, not necessarily the creator. Now, with all of our connection, with our grounding cord, with our bodies lit up with this vibrational frequency, I don't know if you feel it, my whole body is vibrating. I want us now to once again take a couple of deep breaths. Get your light weapons out, whatever that may be. And I want you to leave your body. Just slowly watch yourself floating out at the top of your head, lifting up off of your feet, out of your shoulders, and you're floating in your room or your car or outside or wherever you may be. And you're floating up and up, above and above your home, above the office, above the building, above the car, above the street. And you're looking down and you're starting to get smaller, and the building, the street, and the people, and the cars, all getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I want you to go to just outside of Earth's atmosphere. Let's all meet up. I'm going to wave a flag for you. I'm going to call you over. And immediately I see you all gathering around. Hundreds of you. And what's interesting is I actually see like future versions of you too, like watching this as a replay coming in, which is so cool about the quantum space. We can all do this together. I'm even calling upon all of the other light workers who are not watching this video, who are just around, who are just ready to give that love and frequency. That's beautiful. That's the beautiful thing about the astral auric body. Once you put the call out there, there's so many that come and gather together. I'm even seeing Galactic Federation members coming in their astral bodies, coming to join us. And the purpose for this is I want us to all join together in this beautiful, high vibrational group of beings so that we can light each other up with our connections, so that we can come together in unity. And then with this huge, crazy ball of light and strength, we can go to this place, to this war zone together to emit our frequency. And more of you are coming, like, oh my goodness, thousands now, all hanging out outside of Earth's atmosphere. I'm just going to actually bubble all of us because we're emanating so much light. Just want to bubble us with an invisibility cloak. Okay, all right. That feels good. And I think more will come too as we go because I just see you guys trickling in. Okay, so let's go over to Ukraine. Let's just travel there. And in an instant, we're all there together. Yeah, this is kind of like, I don't know where we are in the Ukraine, but this is kind of where the battle's happening. There's soldiers, there's guns, there's fighting. Let's just go ahead and float above the scene. And there's other kind of little like areas that are scattered all around too, of like tension and war and like borders and just a lot of stuff going on. So how about we all kind of separate where we feel we need to go? And I want you to float there once again in your infinite unconditional love and compassion. And I want you to start emanating this love and this light from your heart space. Thinking about that thing that lights you up, thinking about that connection that you have to unconditional love, filling your body up with that. And then I want you to almost like shoot a beam of light from you. And once again, from source, your connection from source, pulling that energy in from your crown chakra, filling your body up with it. And right when your astral body is just teeming, just overpouring with that love frequency, I want you to blast it, emanate it out to the people of Russia and the people of Ukraine. And just anyone else in the world who is suffering, who is lacking, who is in fear, who is maybe not able to even like have clean water throughout their day, or maybe they're in another war zone, you know, in the rest of the planet. Maybe they're in a third world country and they need our love. I want you to connect yourself not only to these people directly, but to the consciousness grid of the planet. And I want you to shoot this beam of light from all angles out to the ones who really need it. And once again, you are just a conduit. It's not coming from you, it's coming through you, really truly from source frequency. And I want you to just hold that frequency, and I want you to start breathing deep breaths into your body and doing this work. And I see some of you actually just battling these dark energies, and I'm going to ask you to take a step back from, and I know I asked you to pull out your light weapons, take a step back from the battle, take a step back from fighting. It's not about that. The way that we win this war, the way that we win this battle between light and dark is through pure unconditional love and compassion. And when we can hold that, the darkness simply cannot exist. So let's just hold space here in this moment. Whether you can see it or not, you're doing it. And you are so loved and appreciated for even just showing up and being here and doing that. Hmm. Okay. Okay, part of me wants to like relay what I'm seeing. Part of me doesn't want to because I don't want to get into polarity. But I want you to hold that love frequency while I explain kind of what I'm seeing here. So, kind of at a 3D level, I guess, maybe a 4D level, I see that there are soldiers, especially on the Russian side, who don't want to be fighting, who don't want to be in this war. And as they're getting hit with this unconditional love frequency, more and more they're feeling almost like it's almost like a nauseous feeling about the position that they're in, like almost like they're feeling like coerced into this. It almost feels like even like some of these Russian soldiers have family in Ukraine and they feel bad about fighting. Like, yeah. And so as we're blasting them with love, like it's really stirring that energy up in them. So that's a good thing. Of course, we can't coerce them into any making any sort of decision. That's their own journey, their own path, their own contracts, their own free will. And then at a deeper level, I'm seeing some like, I don't know how else to say this, but like I guess some underground military bases. I'm seeing some like reptilian stuff underground. I don't know if it's like in this like ground zero or if it's like reptilian bases or military bases or kind of like all of it. But there's definitely some stuff happening underground. Like it feels like there's some like major battles happening under the surface of what's taking place. Yeah, so fascinating. Okay, I don't want to get into it too much here. I just want to continue to hold love frequency. Okay, I feel the need to actually put this like bubble, like almost like a dome, like, no, I don't want to make it a dome. I want to make it a full circular bubble so that it actually covers the underground base or like the reptilian hideaway or like the whatever's going on underground. Like I really want to like cover it with this sphere. So I just want to like, let's all kind of put this huge, giant white light sphere around the Ukraine, but also Russia as well, and any other countries being affected. Let's just bubble them up. Let's go ahead and fill this bubble with unconditional compassion and love and source frequency. And just kind of fill it up. Just imagine this bubble being filled up with white light from the bottom of the bubble all the way to the top. Hmm. Okay, and I want to set an intention with this bubble. The intention I want to set is that whatever sort of karmic or unresolved energy in this space, like in this physical location, I want to be resolved. Mostly Russia. There's a lot of unresolved energy happening in particular. And we'll talk about that in a little bit, but I want karma to be cleared. I want resentment, attachment. I want shadow governments to be neutralized. I want, that's kind of my intention for this bubble is that, let's contain the energy, let's give it unconditional love and compassion, and let's hold space for the allowance of resolve and neutrality. That would be my highest intention for what's taking place right now at this time, both at a physical level and especially at an energetic level. Now, what's beautiful about putting this bubble and giving them our love and our white light is we get to either go back there, we get to maintain there, like we can literally like hang out there and give as much love as we feel we can give as a conduit and come back into our bodies, no problem, right? So just know that just because you are opening your eyes and you're kind of more functional in your physical body, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily out of that zone or that you're no longer helping. Like I said, there are people who are not even aware of this video or who are not even showing up here who are doing that work as well. Okay, so just kind of being aware of that. And when you feel aligned to it, you can go ahead and open your eyes once again, come back into the live video, and like I said, you know, our astral bodies can be there doing that work, and it's quite profound what we can do as a multidimensional being, as I believe that we are. So I just want to say to all of you who are watching this, whether live or after, thank you so much for your service. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for doing that work. I really do appreciate it, and I think all of the people who are suffering really appreciate that as well. So, yeah, okay, good. So let's talk about why this is happening. Let's talk about why this is taking place at this time. Like I mentioned, my 2022 prediction video, I saw a lot of war. I saw a lot of troops on the ground. I saw a lot of people protesting, people coming together for unity. You know, I saw a lot of like the us versus them, which is, you know, the 99% versus the 1%. So there was a lot of that I saw. Of course, we have the trucker rally. Of course, we've got what's going on right now. And there are a lot of other things that are happening and taking place all over the world, right? So here's the information that came through. I have 4 points as far as why this is taking place and why this is happening between Russia and the Ukraine right now. And thank you so much, Sharma, for that super chat. And once again, for all of you who are just here, showing up and doing the work. So the first reason that I channeled, now I do want to mention that all this information is channeled, as always, take it or leave it. If it resonates with you, then great, it's for you. If not, no big deal. It's not for you at this time. Okay, so the first reason why this is happening is cyclical. So I really got the download that what's taking place, especially in Russia, maybe not necessarily with Ukraine, although that battle, that tension has been taking place for quite some time. But there was this energy of like all of it coming back around for a reason, and it is way bigger than just, you know, between Russia and Ukraine. It does have a lot to do with the US as well, and that's why a lot of eyes globally are on the US to see what's the US going to do about this, right? So what I saw when I channeled it, cyclical, it's like this huge cycle that's coming back, like a lot of the Soviet Union stuff that's coming back. And thank you so much, Marissa, for that beautiful super chat. Yeah, so like, oh, okay, this is what I got. There's this feeling that back then Russia didn't get what it wanted. And even though I was a political science major, you know, I don't get involved in all of that 3D stuff. So I don't know I probably just wanted more power and more control over the world. Because back in Soviet Union times, World War II, it didn't get what it wanted, it's coming back around for that unresolved energy. Now, what's really fascinating about this at a global level is my prediction video for February was all about bringing closure to unresolved energies. I'd love to say that I'm surprised that this is taking place in the month of February, but I'm not surprised at all. This is unresolved energy coming back, whether it be an ex or an old best friend or a job that you let go of that you regretted or whatever. We are all making these huge cyclical moves to complete old energies. All right, so the first reason of why this is happening at this time is it's cyclical. It's a cycle that's coming back to neutralize, to clear. All right, so the reason number 2 why this is all happening at this time, to cause chaos and confusion. Purpose of distraction. It's really interesting because when I got on and I was chatting with all of you before this live video, I said, why do you think this is happening? A lot of you said distraction. So I'm glad that you guys were feeling that energy as well. Once again, reason number 2 why this is happening, to cause chaos and confusion. So my follow-up question to that is it simply to just cause chaos and confusion because to cause chaos and confusion, or is there a deeper reason? I always feel like, and this is very 4D of me to say, but I always feel like when there's like a distraction, hey, look over here, look over here, look over here, what's going on over here? What are we being distracted from? That's what I really want to look at. And this is what I'm going to deep dive into with the Galactic Federation meeting on March 13th, okay, is the deeper reasons. Like, I don't want to get into too much polarity here on a public platform, and I definitely want to talk to the GFL about, and I do have a couple messages from them today. Okay, reason 2, to cause chaos and confusion. Reason 3, why this is all happening at this time. This was fascinating. To tip the scales of love into fear globally. And what's really fascinating is I saw someone comment on this video saying, do you think this is breaking out because of all of the peace rallies and all of the meditations that happened on 2/22/22? I didn't even think about the whole portal opening, the veil lifting, and all of the love that was really emanating during 2/22/22. But when I channeled this, it really does correlate to that comment, which was, once again, this is happening to tip the scales from love into fear globally. Because what are people scared of? They're scared of financial collapse, and they're scared of political chaos. What is this causing? It's causing both of those, right? So, I mean, what a great strategy, what a great tactic. I mean, for how many years has there been a war between the US, one of the global whatever elites, powerhouses, which is so not the case, and Russia, right? There's been this kind of unspoken tension between the two for quite some time. So yeah, of course, this is to really tip the scales into fear. And that's just what I channeled. The 4th reason why this is happening at this time is, this was fascinating, to corrupt current alliances. And I also received that it's to throw peace into chaos. We have had quite a peaceful time on the planet since World War II. I'm saying that very relatively. Let's say global peace, even though we all know that there's been a huge battle behind the scenes. So let's call it 3D peace, even though there has been wars and there has been genocide and there has been some really awful things that have taken place all over the world since then. But essentially, there's all these like global, for lack of a better word, like global peace treaties, whether you want to call it like treaties within the UN or the EU or whatever. Once again, I'm so not about that political life anymore. But this is meant to really shake up the current political structures. For good, for bad, I'm not sure, right? I don't have an opinion on that at this time. So once again, the 4 reasons why this is happening: it's cyclical. This old energy is coming back to clear. It's causing chaos and confusion for a reason, but what is that reason? 3, to tip the scales of love into fear. And 4, to corrupt the current alliances at a global level. All right. So here's what I wanted to really look into. What are the 2 main timelines that can come of this? Because I started to look at future things, and immediately in the next, I would say 3 weeks, there are a lot of different avenues. There's a lot of different paths that are incorporated into what could potentially happen. I got very overwhelmed with all of the different individual pathways. So I wanted to kind of take a step back and take a look at what are the 2 main potential timelines that could come of this. And I mean, I would say that right now we are probably 60-40, 60% positive outcome, 40% negative outcome. The first outcome that I saw was that all of this, these 4 reasons are actually tearing the world into chaos, which is once again financial and political. So that would look like a recession. That would look like potentially an elongated war. That could look like, a lot of things. All right. So that would be, once again, like just roughly, I would say 40% likely as a timeline, which is, that's not a percentage that I want to even mess with or play with or really even think about. The 60% likely is that everything that's happening right now brings the world closer together through challenge, and it actually unifies and clears the old energy and brings unity to us. So I mean, right, you've got both ends of the polarity scale there. Okay, so yeah, the GFL has some pretty big news here, but they were very coy. Like, I don't know how else to say that, but they were not saying everything that I knew that they could say. And they didn't say this. They didn't say that it was unsafe to say it. They just didn't give me the information. Kept asking questions and they said, wait. Kept asking questions and they said, wait. This is what they did give me. Okay. Yeah, this is really fascinating. It's literally, I want to know so much more about this, but they will not tell me at this time. Okay, they said that Putin is a rogue agent, Um, and the very short clip that I received was that he was going like against the elites. Like, it felt like, and once again, like, I don't want to say too much because I didn't get too much information, but what I gathered was that it felt like he was basically like breaking off and doing his own thing against the elite's global shadow government plan. That's at like a 4D level. At a higher level, I mean, this was probably all contracted or orchestrated, or this is one of the potential timelines. But yeah, so that the words rogue agent totally came through very clearly. As far as what that means, I'm not totally sure. Okay, yes. So I did ask, like, how are the white hats handling the issue, right? Like, what's going on with the white hats? What's going on with the other part of the government, basically? They would not tell me. We're going to deep dive into that during the GFL meeting. Okay, so then I asked the GFL, because, sometimes with them, like, because of the law of non intervention and free will, you have to ask the right questions. You have to ask the right questions. And if you don't ask the right questions, they won't give you any extra information. So I thought I was being kind of like, whatever, sneaky by saying, if Putin's is the problem, if this is the guy, if this is some reptilian shapeshifter who's just going off on a control bender, then why don't you just beam him up? Like, literally, you guys, like, you have spaceships, you have technology. Like, why don't you just freaking take him off the planet and try him for his crimes off planet? Like, I was just so kind of confused. And yeah, and this is what they said. And I literally, they didn't explain this to me. I'm just gonna say it because it didn't make any sense to me. I even tried to Google it, and I literally Googled it. I never Google anything, but because I wasn't getting any information from them, I'm like, maybe I'll just Google it. Nothing. I got nothing. So I said, why don't you just, if Putin is the problem, why don't you just take him off? And they told me these words: the law of one. The reason why we can't kill him or kick him off the planet is because the law of one. I'm like, what does that mean? What the hell is the law of one? Like, I have no idea. Like, maybe I'm assuming that the law of one is like, I mean, I get the law of non-intervention. I get the law of free will. I get the law of karma. Maybe the law of one is like, well, reptilian or not, like, he's just a part of all of us. I don't know. I have no idea. But basically, they said because of the law of one, they were not able to do anything about it. It kind of almost like felt like it alluded to like what the world needed to go through collectively. But once again, I'm totally just speculating here, and maybe you have your own inklings as to what the law of one means. And once again, I'm going to really poke and prod them during the GFL meeting. Okay, so I have two more things that I want to mention. One is I got this download, like while I was taking a look at this, that there's been this energy in the past week especially where it's kind of been this weird calm energy. I don't know how to explain it, but like it was almost like there were so many psychic attacks, like psychic attack, psychic attack, psychic attack. And all of a sudden, there's this calm energy. There's no longer these attacks that are happening. I don't know if you're experiencing the same thing. And when I tapped into it, it seems like all of this darkness is like rallying together, kind of like we just rallied the light together at the beginning of this video. There's all this darkness that's rallying together and that are kind of at this war zone. And I don't know if it's like this huge battle that's going on or like underground stuff that's happening or whatever. But yeah, all of a sudden it's just like they're gone, and it almost feels like they're either battling over there or like they're preparing for their next move. So I wanted to mention with the psychic attacks that yeah, that it's almost like changing direction, but it doesn't mean that they're gone completely. Like I feel like this is the other part of the download. So a lot of us were getting psychically attacked, and some of you still are, pretty much this whole past year, on and off, but especially the last probably 3 or 4 months, like crazy psychic attacks. And so I believe that maybe part of that was to lower our vibration, maybe before 22222, but in a bigger reason, I think maybe before this huge war breaks out, you know, just to kind of lower our fortitude so that we cannot provide that love and that compassion and that source frequency to the we're suffering. So it just feels like that was a little bit orchestrated. Once again, it's a little bit of my speculation, but there's definitely a reason why the psychic attacks were so extreme in the past couple of months. Why it feels like they've let up a little bit is, I think, because that attention is being diverted elsewhere. Once again, just something to note, just something interesting. I do truly believe that all of this is happening for a reason. Of course, we're going to deep dive into why it's all happening for a reason on March 13th. I have one more thing that I want to mention, which is what can we learn from this? What can we as a collective, what can we as outside observers really gain from what's happening right now? And before I get to that, I just want to mention, if you enjoyed this video, please share this video to your social media platforms, or maybe your friends and family who want to help, don't know how to help. And it's really truly with that light, with that love, with that meditation that we did at the beginning. And then, of course, digging into some of the reasons why this is happening at this time. Make sure that when you subscribe to the channel, you click the little notification button. Once again, there's been some really bizarre blockings and hacks and other things that have been going on around my channel and my website and some other things. So yeah, just be aware that, you know, if you want to see my content, sometimes you have to kick up the algorithm or just type in my name. Same thing goes for Instagram. There's been a lot of just kind of blocking through those platforms. I'm not surprised. It's Facebook. They're so corrupt. Yeah, and then if you do want a censorship-free platform that is included, that is community-based, that is high vibrational, definitely check out the Cosmic Society membership. You know, it's so nice to be off any and all platforms. It's so nice to just speak my truth and to connect with all of you there. So check that out. So last but not least, what can we learn from this? And truly, it is to support our fellow humans from afar. And one of the biggest lessons, one of the biggest teachings, one of the biggest trainings that I believe we are all gaining access to with COVID, with the pandemic, with everything that's gone on since 2020, is we are learning how to discern between frequencies. There is a lot of noise happening right now at this time. There's a lot of projection, there's a lot of opinion, there's a lot of perception. I want to say that Everyone who has their own belief, has their own opinion, has their own perception is correct because they're at a certain vibrational frequency level. They're viewing it from a certain vibration, and we can all be right in our perception. So you just have to ask yourself, what perception do you want to feed into? And then go ahead and ask yourself, does that perception, does that belief add value in heightening the global vibrational frequency? Is your belief, is your perception in a higher frequency? Is it in a love frequency? Is it adding value to the collective consciousness, or is it taking value away by separating us further from each other and from unity? Once again, all of these different angles can and do exist simultaneously. You get to choose which one you want to focus on, because that focus then shares that frequency with the world. All right, so it's really truly up to you. You are a soldier. You're a light warrior here on planet Earth. You came here for a reason. You could have been incarnated anywhere in the entire universe, and you came here for this moment, for this video, for this conversation, for this message, for this body right now, for a reason, because we need you. We need you to shift the vibration into a higher frequency. And that's what you can do. And you gotta let go of the noise. You gotta let go of the projection. You gotta let go of the fear in order to do that. Shift into neutrality. Shift into 0-point frequency. And then shift into that unconditional love. And naturally, without having to say or do anything, you will emanate that frequency to the world. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. You are so, so loved and so appreciated. And I am grateful every single day to be here and to have a community who questions things and opens their mind and is willing to share their light and their love and their frequency with the world. So keep up the good work, everyone. And until next time, I will see all of you in the fifth dimension frequency.